Marx was an academic, or rather, and worse, he was a failed academic. An embittered would-be Don, he wanted to astonish the world by founding a new philosophical school, which was also a plan of action designed to give him power. Hence his ambivalent attitude to Hegel. Marx says in his preface to the second German edition of Capital, "I frankly proclaimed myself a disciple of that great thinker, and toyed with the use of Hegelian terminology when discussing the theory of value in Capital." But he says his own dialectical method is in direct opposition to Hegel's. For Hegel, the thought process is the creator of the real, whereas in my view, on the other hand, the ideal is nothing more than the material when it has been transposed and translated inside the human head. Hence, he argues, in Hegel's writings, dialectic stands on its head. You must turn it the right way up again if you want to discover the rational kernel that is hidden away within the wrappings of mystification. Registered Marx, then, sought academic fame by what he saw as his sensational discovery of the fatal flaw in Hegel's method, which enabled him to replace the entire Hegelian system with a new philosophy. Indeed, a super-philosophy which would make all existing philosophies outmoded. But he continued to accept that Hegel's dialectic was the key to human understanding, and he not only used it but remained its prisoner till the end of his life. For the dialectic and its contradictions explain the culminating universal crisis, which was his original poetic vision as a teenager. As he wrote towards the end of his life, 14 January 1873, business cycles express the contradictions inherent in capitalist society and will produce the culminating point of these cycles, a universal crisis. This will drum dialectics into the heads even of the eye of the new German Empire. What did any of this have to do with the politics and economics of the real world? Nothing whatever. Just as the origin of Marx's philosophy lay in a poetic vision, so its elaboration was an exercise in academic jargonizing. What it needed, however, to set Marx's intellectual machinery in motion was a moral impulse. He found it in his hatred of usury and moneylenders, a passionate feeling directly related, as we shall see, to his own money difficulties. This found expression in Marx's first serious writings, 2 essays on the Jewish questions published in 1844 in the Deutsch-Französische Jobtücher. Hegel's followers were all in varying degrees anti-Semitic, and in 1843 Bruno Bauer, the anti-Semitic leader of the Hegelian left, published an essay demanding that the Jews abandon Judaism completely. Marx's essays were a reply to this. He did not object to Bauer's anti-Semitism. Indeed, he shared it, endorsed it, and quoted it with approval. But he disagreed with Bauer's solution. Marx rejected Bauer's belief that the antisocial nature of the Jew was religious in origin and could be remedied by tearing the Jew away from his faith. In Marx's opinion, the evil was social and economic. He wrote, "Let us consider the real Jew, not the Sabbath Jew, but the everyday Jew." What he asked was the profane basis of Judaism, practical need. Self-interest, what is the worldly cult of the Jew? Huckstering, what is his worldly god? Money. The Jews had gradually spread this practical religion to all society. Money is the jealous god of Israel, beside which no other god may exist. Money abases all the gods of mankind and changes them into commodities. Money is the self-sufficient value of all things. It has, therefore, deprived the whole world, both the human world and nature, of their own proper value. Money is the alienated essence of man's work and existence. This essence dominates him and he worships it. The God of the Jews has been secularized and has become the God of the world. The Jew had corrupted the Christian and convinced him he has no other destiny here below than to become richer than his neighbors, and that the world is a stock exchange. Political power had become the bondsman of money power. Hence the solution was economic. The money Jew had become the universal antisocial element of the present time, and to make the Jew impossible, it was necessary to abolish the preconditions, the very possibility of the kind of money activities which produced him. Abolish the Jewish attitude to money, and both the Jew and his religion, and the corrupt version of Christianity he had imposed on the world, would disappear. In emancipating itself from hucksterism and money, and thus from real and practical Judaism, our age would emancipate itself. Thus far Marx's explanation of what was wrong with the world was a combination of student cafe anti-Semitism and Rousseau. He broadened it into his mature philosophy over the next 3 years, 1844 to 46, during which he decided that the evil element in society, the agents of the usurious money power from which he revolted, were not just the Jews but the bourgeois class as a whole. To do this, he made elaborate use of Hegel's dialectic. On the one hand, there was the money power, wealth, capital, the instrument of the bourgeois class. On the other, there was the new redemptive force, the proletariat. The argument is expressed in strict Hegelian terms, using all the considerable resources of German philosophical jargon at its academic worst, though the underlying impulse is clearly moral and the ultimate vision, the apocalyptic crisis, is still poetic. Thus, the revolution is coming, which in Germany will be philosophic, a sphere which cannot emancipate itself without emancipating itself from all the other spheres, which is in short a total loss of humanity, capable of redeeming itself only by a total redemption of humanity.